Our programs include many languages. Please log on to our program schedule for more details. suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes comprennent des émissions en plusieurs langues. Pour de plus amples informations, consultez suprememastertv.com/schedule.
हमारे कार्यक्रम कई भाषाओं में है। अधिक जानकारी के लिए कृपया हमारी कार्यक्रम सूची को देखें suprememastertv.com/schedule.
And it is our privilege that we have been chosen as the instruments for doing that particular work, because the divine has no shortage of instruments and it is not in a hurry. So the fact that we have been entrusted with that work is a privilege, and therefore we should try to do this work with the best of our ability, put our heart and soul into it.
Please watch on to find out more. Greetings, noble viewers. I'm Simran from the beautiful land of India. The joyous people of India pray for your everlasting happiness and abundance. In today's program, exploring Sri Aurobindo's divine teachings, an interview with Mr. Ramesh Bijlani, part 1 of 2, we will explore the life and teachings of Sri Aurobindo through a humble devotee, Mr. Ramesh Bijlani. Sri Aurobindo, yogi, philosopher, and poet, was born on August 15, 1872. In Puducherry, he founded a community of spiritual seekers, which took shape as the Sri Aurobindo Ashram in 1926. There he devoted himself for the rest of his life to the development of his integral yoga. In that year, he entrusted the work of guiding the seekers to his spiritual collaborator, Mira Alfalsa, 1878 to 1973, who was called the Mother in the ashram. The ashram eventually attracted seekers from many countries throughout the world. Mr. Ramesh Bijlani is a medical doctor by qualification and has worked as a professor at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. He is a member of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi Branch Trust, engaging in giving inspirational talks and writing on spiritual subjects. Mr. Ramesh Bijlani regards his first visit to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi Branch, in 1992 as a significant turning point in his life, from which he began to look upon Sri Aurobindo as the spiritual guide and the Mother as the source of love and grace.
In fact, the whole life is a series of choices. And we make these choices primarily at 3 levels. One is the emotional level. I feel like doing it, or I feel like having this thing. So that is emotions. The second level is the intellect. That is reasons why I should or should not do something. And we find that although we place reason on a very high pedestal, it is a very unreliable tool because it can justify just about everything.
Some say that life is made up of different choices. It is often impossible to see where a life-altering decision will lead. So whose hands should we give the right of decision to? Our emotions, intellect, or some other reliable sources? Mr. Ramesh Bijlani gives us a detailed answer in light of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's philosophical understandings.
But then, do we have a tool more reliable than reason to guide us? That is where the psychic being comes in. That if we are careful to listen at all points where we have to make a choice between what is right and wrong, there's a shy and faint, non-assertive voice which is quite content to be ignored, which does tell us what is the right thing to do. We have to catch that voice. And if we detect that voice, we'll discover that although it is shy and faint, it is an extremely clear voice, not associated with any doubts and questions. It does not require the crutch of reasoning to tell us what is right and wrong. So it does not go into reasons. It does not require the type of analysis that rationality goes into. It is not dependent on that type of a crutch because it is a part of our divine essence. It is just another aspect of the soul. And divine is all-knowing. And if you know everything, you just know what is right. You don't have to find any reasons for it. So this voice, without going into any reasons, in very clear terms, without leaving us with any doubts or questions, tells us what is the right thing to do. So, which means that the choice should be made at the level of the psychic being, not at the level of the emotions or the intellect. So this is how we should make the choices in the course of our daily work. But that doesn't mean that the other two, that is the emotions and the intellect, always have to be in conflict with the psychic being. Since they are also manifestations of the divine, they may be imperfect, but they are capable of moving towards perfection. And it is the movement of these superficial parts of the being, that is the emotions and the intellect, towards perfection, which is one way of looking at yoga. It is also one way of looking at what the true purpose of life is. Because as they move towards that perfect divine essence of ours, as their voice starts speaking in the same language as the language of the soul, the discrepancy between these different parts of the being starts disappearing. And when that starts disappearing, it becomes easier for us to make these choices. Because then there's no conflict in life. And that is how, by making choices at the right level, we are growing spiritually, we are growing in consciousness, or in simple terms, we are becoming a better person.
Let's take a while to thank all the divinities that bless our life with immense grace. We'll be right back. Graceful viewers, welcome back to exploring Sri Aurobindo's divine teachings, an interview with Mr. Ramesh Bijlani, part 1 of 2. Another practical dimension of spirituality lies in guiding us to the right attitude towards our work. Mr. Ramesh Bijlani set us a good example and considers himself to be a chemist who dispenses small doses of love and wisdom from the inexhaustible pharmacy of Sri Aurobindo.
Spirituality can permeate all life. The first thing is the way we look at our work. Our work does not have to change outwardly, which means we can continue to be a teacher or a doctor or an engineer or a person in the media, in the television. One can continue to do what we are doing, but we can look at this work differently from the way it is commonly done at the mental level. We can look upon this work as something that we are doing as instruments of the divine, because the divine has given us the abilities to be able to do that work, and also the circumstances in which that work can be done. And it is our privilege that we have been chosen as the instruments for doing that particular work, because the divine has no shortage of instruments and it is not in a hurry. So the fact that we have been entrusted with that work is a privilege, and therefore we should try to do this work with the best of our ability, put our heart and soul into it. But even after doing that, we should not insist on a particular type of outcome. It doesn't mean that we should not expect an outcome, a certain outcome, because any thinking person would expect a certain outcome as a result of doing something. But then, since we are not the doers, we are only instruments, and the larger picture or the design behind that work is something which is there with the divine and not with us.
Since the outcome of what we do is destined by the divine, does it mean that we need not to be responsible for our work and can treat it in an indifferent attitude?
But at the same time, because it is our privilege to do the work, not to sort of be indifferent to the way we do the work. We can't take the stand that since the outcome is already determined, I can do the work any way which way I like. The work is being done as a privilege, and therefore we have to put all our heart and soul into it, and it has to be offered to the one who has given us this privilege. So it should be fit to be offered to the divine, and therefore it will be fit to be offered to the divine only if it is done to the best of our ability. So this is the attitude to our work, whatever work we do. Now when we do the work in this spirit, we find that it tends to also get good guidance and greater chances of success, the way success should genuinely be looked at because of divine grace. So we earn divine grace through this approach. And outwardly the work may still appear to be the same, except that some of the people around us may feel that now this person is doing the job very well, whatever she does is done very perfectly, or that this person is by nature very loving and affectionate and compassionate. So they may notice some of these things, but outwardly the difference is not much. The difference is more within you. And that is one of the important things in spirituality. It is within you, not outside. Doesn't depend upon any outer symbols or any outer rituals and ceremonies and so on. It is all within you. So it is something which is going on within you, which is getting reflected in outer life. And it is getting reflected in outer life to some extent, but much of the attitude to work is within you. So this is one.
Mr. Ramesh Bijlani is a medical doctor by qualification and has worked as a professor at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. He is a member of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi Branch Trust, engaging in giving inspirational talks and writing on spiritual subjects. Mr. Ramesh Bijlani regards his first visit to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi Branch, in 1992 as a significant turning point in his life, from which he began to look upon Sri Aurobindo as the spiritual guide and the mother as the source of love and grace.
What qualifies yoga as a spiritual discipline is that it not only has the techniques for improving the performance of the body and the mind, it also has guidance available for how the body and the mind should be used. And how they should be used is in keeping with spirituality, and that is what makes it a spiritual discipline. And that I have just talked about at considerable length, how spirituality can be brought in life as a guide to tell us how to do our daily work, how to respond to ups and downs of life, how to make choices in life. So all that guidance is a part of yoga.
As people often say, saying is one thing, but doing is another. The truth is merely of theoretical value unless it can be lived. Sri Aurobindo and the Mother thus offered a practical and holistic method to reach the unity with the divine. That is the integral yoga. In Sri Aurobindo's monumental work, The Synthesis of Yoga, he analyzed various schools of yoga, and by synthesizing them pointed out a way through which we can lead a divine life while in human existence.
Now, integral means total, and it is total in a variety of ways. Firstly, it is total because it incorporates the essence of all the major traditional schools of yoga, particularly Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, Tantra Yoga, and Yoga of the Gita. It leans very heavily on the Yoga of the Gita, but all the same, it does not reject the other traditional schools of yoga. The period when he was around, the external features of yoga had come to dominate the scene and the psyche of people to such an extent that the spirit underlying yoga had been forgotten. So everything was about the techniques of yoga. So the spirit of yoga had to be revived. And what Sri Aurobindo did was to work out a single harmonious entity using all these traditional schools of yoga, which all have a certain focus on self-improvement, eventually leading to self-perfection, which is the same as union with the divine. So that is the central sort of principle of all schools of yoga. So keeping this central principle intact, he took the particular features of each of these schools which should be incorporated in the synthesis. For example, Hatha Yoga respects the body, emphasizes the body, and the body is the basic instrument which we have for action, and therefore it should not be neglected. So taking care of the body is a part of integral yoga, but does not have the same emphasis and exclusive attention as it has in Hatha Yoga. Same way about Raja Yoga, that's about the mind. So again, the mind should not be neglected. It's the body-mind complex together is our instrument, so the mind should not be neglected, but it does not have that exclusive attention which it receives in traditional Raja Yoga. Then the Yoga of the Gita, the beautiful features of the Yoga of the Gita are that it gives the flexibility to each seeker depending upon his inclinations and temperament, and it also brings yoga into daily life. So these are some of the things which Sri Aurobindo emphasized, but then the Gita does not have anything about the techniques of yoga. But then in Sri Aurobindo's synthesis, the techniques are also accepted as valid for improving the performance of the basic instrument, because if the basic instrument is not good, we cannot live even the yoga of the Gita. And Tantra, again, the basic feature of Tantra is life acceptance, life embracing spirituality even more strongly than the Gita. So that is what he took from Tantra Yoga. Now if we put all this together, we get a single harmonious entity. That's what Sri Aurobindo worked out, and that is what we call integral yoga. But then one way in which integral yoga differs from all the traditional yogas is, again, the way his spirituality differs. That it does not stop at individual salvation or individual welfare. It has a collective aspect to it. Since yoga and spirituality go together, yoga is just the application of spirituality. The goal of Sri Aurobindo's and the Mother's yoga or integral yoga also is an improvement of the human race, changing the very human nature, making a contribution to the change of human nature as a result of further evolution by each one of us working towards our own evolution.
Let's do some yoga and relax our bodies and mind. We'll be right back after these short messages. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Considerate viewers, welcome back to Exploring Sri Aurobindo's Divine Teachings, an interview with Mr. Ramesh Bijlani, Part 2 of 2. During our interview, Mr. Ramesh Bijlani also shared with us the promising vision from Sri Aurobindo and the Mother for the spiritual future of this world, in which the spiritual awakening and rise up of consciousness are the main themes. Now let's listen to this uplifting information from the respectful devotee.
Because so far spirituality has been primarily about individual salvation. Let me think of myself, how I can liberate myself from this miserable world. It's for the first time that Sri Aurobindo and the Mother set up as the goal of spirituality not just individual salvation, but a collective change which will lead to an upward shift in the average human consciousness, which in turn will make this world a better place to live in. Their vision of the future is very reassuring and optimistic, and they have said that the next leap in evolution is around the corner, and therefore it's not far away. It may be a few hundred years away, but a few hundred years are also nothing as in relation to history. It may take some time, but then we can make it faster, we can accelerate the process by each of us contributing to it. As a result of the change in the level of the human consciousness, in such a way that a large number have a consciousness which is distinctly higher than the present average, the average itself will shift. And as the average shifts, or you can say the average human nature, the nature of the common person will change in such a way that it will be inspired more and more by love. And when that happens, that will be the ultimate end of the problems of human existence. And that requires this approach of consciously engaging in the process of growing in consciousness.
Let's wrap up today's program with a verse from Sri Aurobindo's epic poem Savitri, a legend and a symbol. We sincerely thank Mr. Ramesh Bijlani for taking the time to share with us the essence of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's teachings, which has brightened our life with divine light.
Awaken to the meaning of my heart, that to feel love and oneness is to live, and this the magic of our golden change. Is all the truth I know or seek, O sage? Wandering at her and her two luminous words, westward they turned in the fast-gathering night.
To feel love and oneness is to live. To feel love and oneness is to live. That sums it up all. Because love is the antidote to ego, and to feel that is possible only when one transcends the ego. And when one does that, one also feels one with the rest of the creation. And when that has happened, all the evil, all the suffering from this world will be wiped out.
Glorious viewers, thanks for joining us today on this episode of Exploring Sri Aurobindo's Divine Teachings, an interview with Mr. Ramesh Bijlani, Part 2 of 2. Coming up next is Interamericana de Producciones presents The Nutcracker, a lovely Christmas tradition, Part 2 of 8, right after Noteworthy News. May you always feel the love in all beings and all manifestations of our beloved God. For more details and to check out our schedule for language availability, please visit suprememastertv.com/WOW and suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Pour plus d'informations et pour consulter le programme des langues disponibles, visitez suprememastertv.com/WOW et suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Para mais detalhes e para verificar nossa programação para disponibilidade de idiomas, por favor, visite suprememastertv.com/nwn e suprememastertv.com/schedule.